Well, welcome to the BNI Effect, the home of amazing conversations with Brisbane BNI members sharing tips on how you can get the most out of your BNI membership. I'm Tony Meredith, and ordinarily I'm a business coach, but today I'm your host and fellow BNI member, bringing you yet another amazing interview with a Brisbane BNI member. This is episode number 62, and today's guest is Declan Reynolds. G'day, Declan. How are you?
Good day, I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Mate, I'm excellent, thank you. Thank you for being here. Why don't we kick it off by you giving us a brief overview of you, your business, and the main services or products you provide?
Okay. My name's Declan Reynolds, originally from Liverpool in England. Been in Australia for 24 years, I think now. 24 years this year, actually. And been in Brisbane for just over 4 years. So I was one of those Poms that, one of the Victorians that came up pushing the prices higher and higher in Brisbane. My company's called iFormat, or my agency is called iFormat. I've had that for about 17 years. Uh, Traditionally focused on sort of helping people get found on Google, basically. Pay-per-click, Google business listings, Google business profile, and SEO is the principal area of the business. And now we're much more, well, we are focusing a lot more on AI marketing.
Right. Okay. So let's just talk about the Google side of things. So
Yeah.
then, which clients, Declan, do you work with in that regard?
Um, all kinds of clients. I think we do have a particular niche for tradies. We've been doing a lot with tradies over, I guess, about the last 12 years. So we've got a website called Marketing for Tradies. We get quite a few inquiries through that. Most of the tradies we've got, though, have actually come through BNI. And then we've got, dentists, lawyers, accountants, bookkeepers, professional services, that kind of thing. And we do a fair bit of e-commerce as well. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And you touched on AI, so I appreciate
Mhm.
this is not an AI podcast, but I mean, are there some, ways in which you can see already that AI is going to positively impact your business and then also your clients?
Yeah, actually, I was really interested that you mentioned that. Um, One thing that I'm trying to set up at the moment, well, I am setting up, and I hope to have this live where before the podcast goes live, is um, an AI marketing website which will review software uh, that helps people market the business. There's plenty of that going on, but I'm just really interested in it, and I think I can add something at least to the market in Australia. And I think, sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was what was the question
Oh,
again?
just seeing how AI can, how you're seeing AI can help you, but then also your clients.
Sorry, that's what I was saying. So, how it's helped me is uh, with AI, I can do a lot of research and I can create a lot of helpful content around analyzing software, what features it has, what's good about it, what's strong about it. I can aggregate heaps of information, and using one bit of Google software, I can actually sort of feed a load of information into it, and it creates a an AI podcast for me. So it's got two people discussing the software. So I'm actually working on that now. I've got about five or six created, and they're really quite good. I've got to transfer them to so that one of them is my voice. But I think, I mean, AI helps in many, many ways. But in terms of sort of taking our business forward, it's helped us offer new services to clients. But it's also in terms of a personal interest, personal profile, it's really helping me produce some really good quality content easily.
So you're saying that you've got a podcast going and it's not you doing the podcast, it's actually the AI version of you.
Yeah, it it will be an AI voice of me interviewing an AI agent, if you like, and it will review software, discuss the pros and cons of it, how it can help business. So it will go in. The podcast isn't the main goal. It's to have good quality content on the website, and the podcast will be part of that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, so I better watch out, is what you're telling
Yeah.
me,
W-
Declan. with this podcast. You mentioned that you've been in Brisbane for about 4 years.
Yeah.
What prompted the move up?
Um, I think my wife is Brazilian, and she wasn't really enjoying the Melbourne climate. And she just suggested, she kind of said, "Would you fancy Queensland?" And I'd been in, Melbourne for years, 19 years, and I considered it home. And basically, when we went into lockdown, I just had a bit of time on my hands to start investigating. So without her knowing, I was kind of looking at the houses we could get and the places we could live and just the adventure of it. I just thought, we've got a young family and we were trying to go camping in Melbourne, but we got rained out a fair bit. And it was just the adventure of moving and living in a new area and setting up a new office, I just thought was really exciting. So I said yes in about October, and we traveled up the day lockdown ended in 2000 and was it 2000? Must be 2000. The day lockdown ended in Victoria, we booked a flight, got a flight, came up and bought a place and moved at Christmas.
Outstanding. Uh,
Yeah.
how and when were you introduced to BNI?
Oh, look, I set the business up, I think it was 17 years ago, 18 years ago. And I was at a networking meeting and I met a guy who said, "You should come along and try BNI." And I went along and I was really impressed. But it was very far away from my home and I didn't realize they had them all over. So I found one near me and I went along, visited that and signed up straight away. Um,
And what
so
was it about that first meeting that encouraged you to sign up?
I'd never been to anything like it before, to tell you the truth. I'd been to networking meetings, but when I lived in London for 2 years before I came here, and the networking was just, it was just meet someone, shake the hand, give a card, meet someone, shake the hand, give a card. It was really intense, and I didn't like that at all. And to then sort of go to a BNI and see um, the relationships being built and the atmosphere you had in the room, because sometimes you go to really close BNIs where everybody's really good friends and the atmosphere is fantastic. So yeah, I just really enjoyed that aspect of it, and I'd never seen anything like it before.
And so when you relocated to Queensland then, was it a no-brainer that you just seek out the nearest BNI?
Absolutely, it was. Yeah, I was in. The first BNI I was in there for about a year and a half, 2 years, and I left. But I wasn't. In hindsight, I wasn't really uh, focused on it enough, doing the right things. And so I left that BNI, but serendipitously I moved my office, and serendipitously the same week I moved my office to Brighton in Victoria. I got a call from a guy that I knew from the previous BNI, and he said, "Oh, the web designer's left our group. Do you want to come along?" And it was a 2 minute walk from my office. And I
Wow.
went there, and it was a different level. I think there was about 30 members and a lot of business going around, and I signed up straight away to that one. And then that was 50 people when I left, and I came up here, and I straight away just tried to find one, and I ended up choosing one in Cleveland, which I was there for about a year. Um, and yeah, but it was an absolute no-brainer. But BNI's always been good for business, so yeah, it's probably the first thing I did.
So how has being part of a BNI chapter influenced your approach to networking, Declan?
Well, I do actually, it ties in with what I said before. My experience of networking in London was it was just meet somebody, move on, meet somebody, move on, and just hope they call. And I think it taught me the importance of relationships, um, and building those. That's more networking to me. I originally just thought it was meet people, build a network of people that you've met, kind of thing. But I learned that BNI completely changed the way I thought about networking. Um, yeah,
It's about going a lot deeper, building those relationships of know, like, and trust, isn't it?
yeah, it is, and I think the relationships, it can't be overstated, the importance of those. And I think when I joined a BNI in Brighton, and I was there for about 10 years, that I spent a good 6 to 9 months building really good close relationships, and I was friends with clients before they actually sort of gave us business. And there's 5 people from that BNI now who are still clients 10 years on, you know. And I think it's important in terms of it was important in terms of getting the initial referral from them, but then keeping them, you know, keeping them as ongoing clients is huge.
How do you measure the success of your participation in BNI? Are there any specific metrics or stories that highlight your success?
Um, yeah, look, in terms of a story, I think what was a major success was, or what was a major success for my business was that I started to focus the business on SEO. Okay. And I think it's something that all business owners who are involved in marketing have heard of. They might not understand it, but they certainly have heard of it and they understand the importance. And when I'd been in that my first BNI and I started building those relationships, I just got 1 or 2 who let us do their SEO. And we got results really quickly. SEO was a lot easier back then. And they told the other members of the group. And before you know it, 6 months later, I must have had at least 10 clients within that BNI doing SEO with us. So that really helped take the business forward, because all our SEO work has either come through BNI or just referrals from other clients. It's always referral based. These guys get results, so try these. But BNI was really instrumental in taking the business forward and helping us settle on that, make the decision to settle on focusing on SEO and not doing other things, just specializing in that.
Yeah, it's amazing. What
Yeah.
advice would you give to new BNI members to make the most out of their membership?
Um, I think the first thing I think is it's important to understand um, what you're getting into. Okay. And I think a lot of people will come along, they'll see a good meeting and they don't understand what BNI entails. Okay. Because you can go along and you can see business pay passed around. You think, wow, that sounds great. Um, but they don't understand the commitment in terms of one-to-ones, going to the meeting every week, and building relationships. Okay. Too many people just see it as transactional. So I would say really understand what you're getting into and being committed. And as I said, I joined a BNI. I was in it for about a year and a half, 2 years. I don't remember exactly. It was 15 years or so ago. But I just wasn't that committed. I wasn't as big a believer in the process and I didn't take it seriously enough. But when I joined again about 10 or 11 years ago, I really decided to focus on trying to do the best I could, and it made a major difference. I'd also say choosing a group that fits for you, where, ideally referral partners, where you can, finding people who you can refer to and they can refer to you. I think that's really important. Ideally, where there's not a lot of crossover, but if there is crossover, I think it's being willing to give up aspects of work that you might normally take, like the BNI I joined 10 years ago, the one in Brighton. When I joined, there was at least 4 or 5 people offering web design, which was my original category. And everybody wanted to hoover everything up, where web design, maintenance, social media, SEO, and I don't think you can do that. I think BNI really took off when a lady called Johanna joined that BNI, and she only did web design and I only did SEO, and we referred each other heaps. Um, and as you said, it's about the relationships. That would be my thing. Just focus on that. Build the relationships, spend the time and build the relationships.
Yeah, I mean, you get out of things what you put into them, right? So, like you said, take that time, invest in the relationships, and those relationships will then reward you, down the track. What's next?
Absolutely.
What's next for your business, Declan? Like, have you got any exciting projects or expansions on the horizon? We sort of touched on AI, but any other excitement coming up?
Look, I think we've got an app that we're helping clients with. We're implementing into clients' business, and it's AI driven. Two of the main things are the AI voice agents. So you make a call, an AI voice agent answers. It can, if you train it the right way, it will answer all the questions accurately, correctly, and it can qualify the inquiry. So right now we're setting it up for an insurance company. They're part of an insurance, I don't know the term they use, but let's say an insurance kind of network. They're part of a company, and that company feeds them inquiries. Now, some of those inquiries are not at all what they want. So we're setting up a voice agent to qualify the lead, ask questions, make sure it's the right business for them, and then the agent will put them through to the staff member to speak to them. That's probably the thing I'm most excited about, is kind of the implementing AI solutions, because we can get the business to the website and we can get people to convert on the website. But what then? How can we make that more efficient for them? How can we make the marketing and ongoing communication much more efficient? So I'm really excited about that.
How do you keep up? With all the AI advancements, it seems to me that it's just getting faster and faster. So, how do you as a service provider in the AI space keep up with it all?
I don't know if it's actually possible for one of you to kind of to to kind of keep up with it, but um I think one of the main things is um people are sort of scratching the surface. Like, I spoke to a potential client the other week, and I was saying, look, AI can do a lot of this. And she was like, no, I do, but I use AI all the time. I use it to help me write emails. And that to her was kind of, that's using AI, but obviously that's barely scratching the surface. I think what you want to do is you want to look at your business and look at what takes up your time. Look at the tasks that you are doing all the time that are repetitive. How can you use AI to perform those for you and free up your time to do the stuff that you love? And that just might be spending more time with the family, or working on the business, working on the strategy, working on analysis. And I think, rather than trying to, I can't keep up with everything in marketing, but what we are trying to do is we've looked at how it can help my business internally, how it can help us do more for our clients, how it can help us be more efficient. But then from, a B2B point of view, what can we implement into our client service that will help clients the most? Um, and I mean, it's such a rabbit hole. If you start looking at AI solutions, it's massive. But I think if you look at where your issues lie, where you get slowed down, where tasks take up time, how can you make that more efficient? And there's solutions for everything, you know. Just data input. We've got software now that will set what, we used to be manual, set up a project for SEO, put in the client's name, put in the keywords, that kind of thing. We're using a platform now actually, that will basically follow that process, learns the process, and then will do it for us. Yeah, you have to train it a little bit, but it's quite amazing what it can do. And sorry, this is probably a long question. I think a long answer, sorry, to a short question. I think people need to consider the tools that they have at the moment, okay? Because one of our entire business, the emails, documents, and so on, are on Google Business Suite, whatever they call it now. And everything that I use in terms of AI, I wanted to integrate with that, because I don't want lots of disparate tools. And I think people should think about that carefully as well, because you can see something that's new and shiny and it sounds great, but you don't want to end up with lots of disparate tools. That's probably a challenge, I think.
Great advice. Thank you, Declan. How do you see your relationship with BNI evolving as your business continues to grow?
Um, Look, I think I'm trying to implement tools for other businesses that help them become more efficient, particularly around marketing and sales. And I'm dealing in BNI, and the BNI group I've got now is absolutely amazing. And but they're all busy business owners. And I see it, I see my business evolving to help obviously those businesses. But within BNI, I think, obviously there's the relationships and they can refer work and so on, but I think I can help those businesses just be able to focus more on growing the business and networking by implementing solutions that just give them more time. So it's kind of like quite a symbiotic relationship, I think.
If you could share one piece of wisdom with our listeners or viewers, whether they be BNI members or not, what would that piece of wisdom be, Declan?
Um, I think it would be don't fear AI. Just embrace how it can help you. And I think, there's a lot of fear around it, jobs that will be taken, that kind of thing. But you can use it as a tool to make you much more efficient and give you and your staff members more time to be more productive and focus on the things that really matter. And I think you should just sort of embrace it. And if you don't know, if you're worried about it because you can get left behind, or you're worried about being left behind because there is a lot to learn, speak to somebody. And one of the things I would say is, speak to ChatGPT. Say to ChatGPT, this is the business I've got. This is my role. This is what we do. How can AI help me? How can you help me? And it'll tell you, so you can start off just by doing that. A lot of people don't realize you can just have a conversation with it. I was speaking to a guy a couple of months ago. He just didn't realize you could just chat to it in that way. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, talk to it about how your business, where the gaps are, what slows you down, and it can help set you on a path like that, or speak to a professional.
Amazing wisdom. And that's a nice segue into speaking professionals in regards to how listeners can learn more about you, your business, and get in touch with you, Declan.
Well, you can find out more about a platform we resell, which is, we call it Goal, which is spelled GOHL, so gohl.com.au. And hopefully by the time this goes out, I will have a website live, which is ai-marketing.com.au, which will be focused on education and apps, on AI marketing apps to help you drive your business forward.
Fantastic. Thank you, Declan. Well, look, that wraps up another episode of the BNI Effect. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. And I want to extend a massive heartfelt thank you to Declan Reynolds for sharing his knowledge and expertise with us. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to the BNI Effect on your favorite podcast platform. And please leave us a review. Thanks for listening.